Alright, what's up folks? Rich Van Tassel with you, giving you the recap of the early games here from now week 8 of the NFL season. We got a lot of them going final right now. The Philadelphia Eagles hammered the San Francisco 49ers 33-10. CJ Beathard not any better in his second start, 17-36, 167 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. He was their top rusher, 6 carries, 40 yards, 6.7 yards per rush. Carlos Hyde, 12 of 25, 2.1. Matt Breida, 5 of 17, 3.4 per rush. The team altogether 24 of 94, 3.9 yards per rush. Matt Breida, top receiver, 4 of 39, 1 touchdown. Trent Taylor, 3 of 33. Garrett Selleck, 1 of 24. No fumbles, 1 sack. Earl Mitchell, Akilla Witherspoon had an interception. No kick returns. Trent Taylor, 2 punt returns, 9 yards. Robbie Gould, 1 for 2 in his field goals. For the Eagles, Carson Wentz, 18 of 32, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Corey Clement, top rusher, 10 of 54, 5.4. LeGarrette Blount, 16 of 48, 3 yards per rush, 1 touchdown. The team, 31 of 112, 3.6 yards per rush, and the touchdown. Again, you're up that big, you can get away with the 3.5, 3.6-ish yards per rush. Usually you like to be above 4, 4.1-ish, but like we've said many times, when teams have a big lead and you're just salting it away, you'll take 3.5. Alshon Jeffrey, 2 catches, 62 yards, 1 touchdown. Zach Ertz, 4 of 34, a touchdown. Mac Hollins, 2 of 30. Nelson Aguilar, 3 of 26. No fumbles, 4 sacks. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Vinny Curry, and Michael Kendricks. Jalen Mills returned an interception, 37 yards for a touchdown. Rodney McLeod had the other. Kenjon Barner, 2 punt returns, 14 yards. There were no kick returns. Jake Elliott, 2 for 2 in his field goal. So San Francisco, it's still a struggle for them. Their offense just isn't there. Didn't have it with Brian Hoyer. Now you move to Beathard, and you're going to have these growing pains with him as the starting quarterback. Things could get out of hand. You might be looking at a 1-15 year for the San Francisco 49ers. For the Philadelphia Eagles, they're rolling. Their offense is playing very well. Their defense is starting to come along. It's tough to really, gauge your defense. I'm not putting the Philadelphia defense down at all. I'm just saying you're playing such a poor San Francisco offense with a rookie quarterback. Like the Cowboys had great success against the 49ers offense last week, and the Cowboys defense is nowhere near the level of the Eagles defense. So, look, you played well. You did exactly what you had to do. It's not like I'm knocking Philadelphia, but you can't really take much away from the defensive game against a team like San Francisco. But offensively, they're really clicking, and the weapons for Carson Palmer have really come along. Carolina 17-3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Carolina now 5-3. They are an impressive 4-1 on the road. Tampa Bay drops to 2-5. Really underachieving down in Tampa Bay. Cam Newton 18-32, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Cam Newton again the top rusher, 11 carries, 44 yards, 4 yards per rush. Jonathan Stewart 11 of 34, 3.1. He had a touchdown. The team 31 of 100, 3.2 yards per rush. Christian McCaffrey top receiver, 5 of 49. And Christian McCaffrey only carried 4 carries for 3 times, so he's really not doing much as a runner. Kelvin Benjamin, 3 of 39, 1 touchdown. Ed Dixon, 4 of 24. Curtis Samuel, 2 of 15. Kurt Coleman, Luke Kuechly recovered fumbles. Mike Adams fumbled. It was not lost. 3 sacks, 1.5 for Mario Addison. He's very much under the radar. Julius Peppers had another. He's flying. Addison's flying under the radar. Julius Peppers, of course, is not. He's still getting the job done. You can't put enough praise on Julius Peppers as a player. And Kyle Love had the other half sack. Mike Adams, an interception. Luke Kuechly had an interception. Russell Shepard, 1 kick return, 33 yards. Curtis Samuel, 1 for 23. Kalen Clay, 3 punt returns, 22 yards. That's a 7.3 yards per average. Graham Gano, 1 for 1 in his field goals. For the Buccaneers, Jameis Winston, 21 of 38, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Doug Martin, 18 carries, 71 yards, 3.9 per rush. Jameis Winston, 3 of 13, 4.3 per rush. 22 of 85 total, 3.9 yards per rush. Cameron Brate, 4 of 64 receiving. Mike Evans, 5 of 60. Deshaun Jackson, 3 of 37. Jameis Winston also fumbled and lost it, so his turnovers are rearing their ugly head again. No sacks, 1 interception. It was Chris Conte. Bernard Reddy, 1 kick return, 13 yards. Bernard Reddy, 3 punt returns, 23 yards. Patrick Murray, 1 for 1 in his field goal. So we'll start with Carolina. They've got to figure out their running game. and really just find an offensive identity. At this point, it's just, Cam Newton bail us out. Make a couple plays here, make a couple plays there. Cam Newton runs a little bit. We rely on our defense, which is fine, but there's too much talent on this offense for them not to have an identity. We're not talking about a New York Jets offense or something like that, where you're really just trying to piece things together. You draft Christian McCaffrey. So it's got to be figured out, and it's got to be really figured out fast. For Tampa Bay, they are really unimpressive thus far this year. This was a team that went 9-7. Their defense is okay. Jameis Winston, look, he's playing injured. Deshaun Jackson is not really doing what they would have hoped since acquiring him. He's not stretching the defense, and with Mike Evans, his numbers should be a lot better. But Jameis Winston, of course, has got to limit the turnovers. Boy, was I wrong about this one. The Buffalo Bills getting a nice, solid victory, 34-14 over the Oakland Raiders. Buffalo is now 5-2, 4-0 at home. Oakland drops to 3-5. Maybe I start needing to putting a little more faith in Buffalo. They got the Atlanta victory. They didn't let me down in this one. Well, they did because I picked Oakland, but they didn't falter in this one, even though I didn't want to put faith in them. They had that Cincinnati loss, so let's see. Derek Carr for the Raiders, 31-49, 313 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. DeAndre Washington, top rusher, 6 of 26, 4.3. Jalen Richard, 5 of 22, 4.2. The team, 14 of 54, 3.9 yards per rush. Michael Crabtree, 5 of 83 receiving. DeAndre Washington, 8 of 62. Jerry Cook, 4 of 57. That's receiving. DeAndre Washington, Jalen Richard both lost a fumble. Jamizi Awaliye fumbled and recovered a fumble, same with Cordero Patterson. No sacks, no interceptions. Cordero Patterson, a 43-yard kick return. Jalen Richard, 3 kick returns, 16 yards. Jamizi Awaliye, 1 kick return for 9 yards. Jalen Richard, 2 punt returns for 11 yards, 5.5. Giorgio Tavecchio did not attempt a field goal. For the Buffalo Bills, Tyrod Taylor, very efficient in this game, 20 of 27, only 165 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But when you run the ball the way Buffalo does, you'll take those numbers all day. LaShawn McCoy, 27 of 151, 5.6 yards per rush. He had a 48-yard touchdown. I believe the touchdown was the 48-yarder. He had a long run. Mike Tolbert, 4 of 14. Tyrod Taylor, 6 of 1. He probably took a few knees. 37 of 166, so 4.5 yards per rush with a big lead is plenty, and Tyrod Taylor 6 for 1 on some kneel downs, bringing those numbers down. Andre Holmes, top receiver, 3 of 51, 1 touchdown. Zay Jones, 3 of 52. Brandon Tate, 1 of 24. LaShawn McCoy, 6 of 22. Matt Milano and Mike Tolbert both recovered fumbles. I believe Milano returned his for a touchdown, no interceptions. Trey Elston, Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde's really helped that defense. They both had interceptions. I love the veteran addition of Micah Hyde. I think it's really helped with that team coming along and finally winning these sorts of games. Brandon Tate, 2 punt returns, 17 yards. Stephen Hauschka, 2 for 2 in his field goals. Oakland, it's a tough game to win. I know you already have 5 losses, or you have 5 losses now. Oakland is not really in a position where they can give games or that many games away. But look, you got to take it. It was a west to east travel, and you had the 1 o'clock start time. It happens. Buffalo is playing well. I'm most impressed with the Buffalo defense this season. So let's keep an eye on them moving forward. If their offense can continue to develop, I think at some point they're going to have to make more plays than that, but they rely on the running game, and that defense is really coming along. Of course, the London game probably should have done this first. So meaningless with the Cleveland Browns, though they're so bad. Minnesota 33-16 over the Browns. Minnesota is now 6-2. They are playing very well, and Cleveland is 0-8, and they are not playing very well. Case Keenum, hey, he's making me eat my words. 27-43, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, that may have been more of the offense in Los Angeles. That's the reason for the struggles. Of course, they did not have Sean McVay prior to that, when he was there. Jerick McKinnon, 14 carries, 50 yards, 3.6 per rush, 1 touchdown. Latavius Murray, 19 of 39, 2.1. 34 of 88, 2.6 yards per rush, 1 touchdown altogether. Adam Thielen, top receiver, 5 for 96. He had a touchdown. Jerick McKinnon, 6 of 72. David Morgan, 3 of 28. Kyle Rudolph, 6 of 27, and the other touchdown. Emmanuel Lamore, Anthony Harris, both recovered fumbles. Laquan Treadwell fumbled. It was not lost. 3 sacks. Everson Griffin, Tom Johnson, and Linval Joseph. Everson Griffin, another guy flying very much under the radar. Marcus Sherrills, a kick return of 24 yards. Marcus Sherrills, 2 punt returns of 15 yards. Kai Forbath, 4 for 4 in his field goals. for the Browns. They went back to Deshaun Kaiser. It just shows I'm not even expecting Deshaun Kaiser to start, and somehow they're still putting him out there. 18 of 34, 179. Either sit him or play him, but don't keep bringing him in and out like this. He's not playing well enough where you bench the guy and say, oh yeah, we're gonna give Deshaun Kaiser another shot. It's not like it's one bad game. It didn't have any interceptions, though, so give him credit there, I suppose. Isaiah Crowell, 11 carries, 64 yards, 5.8. 1 touchdown. Duke Johnson Jr., 6 of 33, 5.5. 22 of 115, 5.2 yards per rush. As opposed to Minnesota, who ran 34 times for 88 yards, 2.6 yards per rush. How do you lose? Well, we'll get into that in a moment. Isaiah Crowell, 4 receptions, 54 yards. Ricardo Lewis, 2 of 42. David Njoku, 2 of 19. Isaiah Crowell and Bryce Treggs both lost fumbles, so that's part of it. -2 in the turnovers. 1 sack. It was Carl Nassib. Joe Schobert had an interception. Excuse me, -1 in the turnovers. Matthew Days, 3 kick returns, 105 yards, 71-yard kick return. How do you lose? Bryce, by 17 nonetheless. Bryce Treggs, 2 punt returns, 11 yards. Zane Gonzalez, 1 for 2 in his field goals. So let's look at that. 1 for 2, a missed 35-yard field goal by Zane Gonzalez, who's missing a ton. -1 in the turnover situation for Cleveland. Time of possession. Where's that time of possession? 37, almost, so basically 38 to 22 in favor of Minnesota. 37-52, 22-08. Penalties, 5 of 58, but 5 of 74 for the Cleveland Browns. I saw some of this game because, of course, it was on. They got some touchy penalties here in the secondary. I thought probably shouldn't have gone that way, but it is what it is. 4 of 13, though, as opposed to 6 of 16 on 3rd down, so kind of a wash there. 0 for 1 on 4th down. First down penalties, Minnesota had more penalties. So it just shows how terrible Cleveland is. Yeah, you had some things that contributed to the loss, but not enough where it's just a mess. They're dropping passes. There were a lot of drop passes. That's part of it. The missed field goal, of course, Zane Gonzalez, I'd expect him to be cut at some point, but it's really just an awful situation for the Cleveland Browns. Don't know what you can say about it. Let's see if they figure it out at some point. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit to continue on with the recap of the early games from Week 8 of the NFL season. Be sure to stay tuned. And, of course, we appreciate all subscriptions. Thank you.